Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good late night. Depends on what time you're watching this. Okay, so we have our Unit 7 test, which will be split up into the 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. So just like the quiz, you'll get part 1 on Monday, get part 2 on Tuesday, and it is due on Wednesday. All right, now this is a test grade. So for some of you that are borderline, this would be an excellent time to help your grade. Okay, your grades can't go down, they can only go up. All right, so take some time and go through this review and get a good grade. All right, take this opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to do these videos in about 10-minute segments because I think it might be kind of long because of the review. So starting with radical functions, we did this. Now remember, radical functions, when we're looking at these, the inside number moves the graph left, right. The outside number moves it up, down. So what we're looking for is based off of the origin. I moved 1 to the left and I moved 3 down. Now remember that on these problems, the inside number is actually opposite of what you're seeing. So when we're going to the left one, that actually is going to be this +1 and then down 3. So the answer to this one is C. Okay, domain questions. So remember, for domain means what values can x be so that I will get out a value for y. Well, the stipulation for square root functions or radical functions is that we cannot have negative numbers. So what does that mean? That means that the 7x minus 3 needs to be greater than or equal to 0. As long as it's greater than or equal to 0, we can plug it in for x. So we're just going to solve this little mini inequality. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm going to divide by 7. What that leaves us with is x is greater than 3/7. So letter A is our solution. Same idea for this one. Okay, you guys can try that one really quick, or hopefully you should have most of these done already. All right, but also you can pause me. I always forget you can pause. All right, so pausing, but we do have x plus 2 has to be greater than or equal to 0. So that means that x has to be greater than or equal to -2. So all values that are greater than or equal to -2, greater than or equal. So the answer is A. Okay. Which inequality represents the domain of the function? Domain are x values, all right? There are no x values over here on the function. Where did the x values start? Right here. The x values start right here. What is that x value? It's a -6. What's going to happen with that? It's going to go on forever. Okay, we just don't have a graph that's that big. So what value is that? X is greater than or equal to -6. Page 2. Okay, how will the graph of square root of x change if the function changes to square root of x plus 2? If this is an outside value, what does the outside value do on a square root function? That is right, moves the graph up 2. Number 6, this brings us into our function operations. So function operations, we are looking at function f, function g, and what are we doing with those functions? We're dividing them. So let's start with that. You're going to start with x squared minus 8x plus 12 over x minus 6. Okay? Well, it can't be that easy, right? You're right, it's not that easy. This is not the answer. Remember, what we're looking to do is to see if we can factor this guy. What are two numbers that multiply to get 12? Add to get -8. It would be a -6 and a -2. That's still over x minus 6. What happens? These cancel, so those are gone. Boop, boop. What are we left with? X minus 2. Okay, so x minus 2. Now the reason that x can't equal -6 is in there, or excuse me, x can't equal 6 is because that goes back to, this creates a hole. When I plugged in a 6 there, there's going to be a hole in that graph, so it just can't be equal to 6. Number 7, it's subtraction. F of x minus g of x. Simple enough. So what's the f function? The f function is 3x squared plus 7x minus 4. I'm going to wrong key, subtract, I made that really big, make it obvious, 9x squared minus 5x plus 1. All right, now, again, if there is a positive in front of the parentheses, nothing changes about that, so the signs are all the same. But when there is a negative in front of a set of parentheses, that changes these signs. So the positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive, positive becomes negative. So I'm going to end up with a plus 9x squared. Oh, excuse me, not a plus. Just said it, just it's supposed to become a minus. Minus 9x squared. This one becomes the plus 5x. This one becomes a minus 1. So 3x squared minus 9x squared, that's a negative 6x squared. Well, there's only one possible answer on this one, but let's just double check it. 7 plus 5, that is 12. Negative 4 minus 1, that is a negative 5. So our answer is B. Do the same thing, but now we have addition of the two functions. So I have a negative 2x squared plus 3x minus 6 plus 5 minus 4x minus 8x squared. Okay, positive in front, nothing changes. Positive in front, nothing changes. So I have negative 2x squared plus 3x minus 6 plus 5 minus 4x minus 8x squared. All right, well, I have a negative 2x squared and a negative 8x squared. All right, well, I have two of those options. So it's that you've got to be either C or D. 3x minus 4x. So the correct answer is a minus 1x, and then negative 6 plus a 5. So our answer, C. Okay, the last two on this video set. Composition. This is not multiplication. Okay, multiplication would look like this. F of x times g of x, or it would look like f times g of x. This is not the same thing. Okay, these are not equal. This means that you're going to take the g function and input it for the x into the f function. Taking the g function, inputting it into the f function for the x. All right, so all I'm going to do is take out the x. Here's the f function. This is where the x was. It's right there. 2x squared plus 4. It's gone. What takes its place is the g function, 3x minus 1. And now we algebraically simplify this. 3x minus 1 squared is not 9x squared minus 1. It's 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. I typically like to distribute this before I distribute the 2. Okay, you get the same answer if you distribute the 2, but you only distribute the 2 to this first one. I would just suggest distributing the binomials. Okay, so I end up with 9x squared minus 3x plus 1 plus 4. That's 2 times 9x squared minus 6x plus 1 plus 4. Now we can distribute the 2 to these guys. So when I distribute the 2, I get 18x squared. I have to see where my answer is going here. 18x squared minus 12x plus 2 plus 4. And what do I end up with? 18x squared minus 12x plus 6. Okay, last one on this set, and then I will start a new video. Okay, once again, composition. The g function is going into the f function. So where the x was, again, there it is, x squared, there it is, it's gone. Boom. Okay, what goes in its place? This guy, the 2x squared, or the 2x minus 3, plus 3, excuse me. So 2x plus 3 times itself. First is 4x squared. Then I have an outside, which is 6x. Inside, 6x. Last, 9. So this is our answer. All right, so that is composition. Again, different than multiplication. Multiplication, I'll just give you an example because I'm not sure if there's one on here. Multiplication would be something like this. So I would take the f function and multiply it by 2x plus 3. So I distribute, I get 2x squared, 2x to the third, excuse me, 2x to the third plus 6x squared. All right, so I'll stop it there.